Last week we talked about setting a SMART goal. This week we're going to discuss two more things: physical activity plans and how to plan for barriers. Now that we have some goals, we need to have a physical activity plan. A physical activity plan has 4 questions of what, where, how, and when. We need to think about what type of activity we're going to do, where we're going to do those activities, when we're going to do those activities, and how are we actually going to do them. The next part of this is addressing a few more additional questions that fill in those details. We need to know how much time will we need to complete that activity, and don't forget about that time it takes to get ready. Do we have any special clothing or equipment that we need? What do we need to do to prepare for the weather, especially if you think about the winter? Don't let that cold weather sink your goals. What are some obstacles we might run into along the way? And what are some ideas to overcome these obstacles? Now, everyone's plan is going to look different depending on what your goals are and where you're at and those type of things. The important thing is, though, that you have a plan and that you have it recorded somewhere. Now, this could be on your phone, a computer, a daily planner, or even just a sheet of paper that you have handy or on the fridge. The plan should really focus on your goal and serve to help you accomplish those goals. Remember to have some flexibility with these plans. Not every day is going to be the same, and so it might be difficult to plan for certain scenarios. Time to make your own physical activity plan. Pause the video if you need to, or come back to this part if you want. I provide a sample template in the resources below. Once you have that plan, that doesn't mean everything will be easy. There will still be barriers, and so now we need to talk about how to address those barriers and obstacles. Well, there isn't one foolproof method, especially because the barriers and obstacles are going to vary by person, but there's a couple common barriers we all run into. So let's talk about them and how to overcome them. First, let's talk about low motivation and being tired. One technique people use is being active in the morning. And so if you have an exercise that you want to do, doing that in the morning before the day gets ahead of you or before you've had a long day at work and just feel exhausted by the end of the day. Another thing to consider is usually if you have low motivation, it's because you're thinking about how hard the effort will be. But remind yourself how good you feel immediately after doing the exercise or even during the exercise. Make sure you start slow and work into it. Don't force it. Don't think you got to go hard right away. If you're not feeling it, just start really slow. Get that intensity low. Just do the minimum right away and then work up to it. If you're just not feeling it, do your minimum for the day and attack the days you feel better. Make it easier to be physically active. So have your clothes ready, maybe put in some headphones, listen to music to getting started. Any of those tactics work. Just things that help make the flow go better initially. And don't overthink it. Just get going. You don't have to think, just do it, and then you'll feel better once you get moving. All right, so let's talk about another big barrier, the cold weather. Especially as winter is coming, we need to have plans to exercise in the cold or ways that we can be active inside. One thing you can do is always involve other people, such as family members. We usually think of the cold weather and winter as a good time to do a lot of sedentary activities, such as watching movies or playing board games and stuff. But it's also a time that we can be more active with other games. Think about doing your strength routine together as a family. Don't forget that sledding and building snow forts is also activities, even for adults. And be creative and see what others have done online. There's lots of things you can do and see what fits with your lifestyle and where you live. The biggest thing I would say for the cold weather is making sure that you have some plan. So when that first cold day hits, you're not making an excuse to not be active. Instead, you're ready to go and you just engage in that new plan. Don't let that first day be the first day that you stop hitting your goals. From these barriers, we can see that if we have a plan and can avoid the barriers, we can be better prepared to handle it. I know that there's lots of barriers, obstacles out there. We can't possibly address them all. I would encourage you to just think of some plans ahead of time or even search the internet. There's lots of good suggestions out there. Another thing we can do to plan for barriers is to use if-then statements. They're great if you're running into the same barrier or obstacle time and time again. And so the way these work is that we have an if statement and then a then our plan to react to that situation. For an example, you could say, if I work late, then I will do my abbreviated 15-minute walk as soon as I am home. The if then statement's a good way to make a commitment to yourself, so that even if your plan in mind kind of falls apart, you get into a tricky situation, you have this statement to guide you on exactly what you're going to do. You're not overthinking it. You're just going to execute on this plan. So after today, I would like you to have your goals, have a plan to accomplish those goals, and write out some if-then statements and other plans to overcome those barriers. There are resources and worksheets below to help you figure out these plans. And so what I'm encouraging you to do is be a man with a plan, and I'll see you next time.